You are now listening to Rings Kings Boxing World Flash Report.
Shout out to Ring Kings Boxing Nation. I'm Big Q. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and subscribe to Ring Kings Boxing. We up in this thing. Anyway, Jaron Ennis has a fight. And of course, we know Jaron Ennis is supposed to take on Ortiz after this bout, but he wanted a tune-up matchup. Well, there were 3 fillers out there that people wanted to see before he gets the Ortiz matchup, the big one. I think that's coming up for later on, early next year. But Jaron Ennis has found a fight, and according to Bad Left Hook, shout out to them, that Uisma Lima, if I'm saying that right, Uisma Lima, final eliminator set for October the 11th in Philly. So Jaron Boots Ennis will battle an unheralded upset merchant in later this year in Philly. Now, of course, if Jaron Ennis, and I guess if you're his team, you don't want him to take on a severely dangerous fighter before Ortiz. But if Boots Ennis is everything we believe him to be, which is a very good fighter, then that Ortiz matchup will be a big one. But first, you got to get through Lima. Boots Ennis didn't manage to snag a big name for his super welterweight debut, but he did get a home game, as Matchroom announced today that he'll face Uisma Lima in the WBA final eliminator on October the 11th in Philly. Lima, who's 14-1 with 10 knockouts, is at least on paper reasonably tough introduction to the 154 ranks. Though he dropped the decision to Aaron McKenna in 23, he's taken out 3 consecutive undefeated opponents in hostile territory, beating these guys in Germany, in Canada, and Koopman in South Africa. He'll bring the WIBO championship of the world with him to the ring. So this should fast track Ennis, who's 34-0 with 31 knockouts, to a title shot if he emerges victorious, but it's a bit unclear what the final eliminator means in this situation. Despite the fact that Terence Crawford is clearly done with the division, the WBA has yet to strip him. Maybe they'll set up a fight with interim champ Uisma Lima if he gets past Abbas Barrow. But if not, the ring claims that the plan is to pit Ennis against Vergil Ortiz. I think that is where it needs to go. They can say what they want. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make difference. These dudes can't tie my shoes, said Boots Ennis. I'm the best in the world, and they know it. I want all the big names and belts. The tour continues. I'm very excited to be taking on the biggest challenge of my life against a legit world-level fighter. And Ennis said, Lima, I believe in myself. We'll be coming to war. Please don't take me lightly, Boots. I'm coming to win. All right, very respectful comments by Mr. Lima. So you got a 34-0 Boots Ennis with 31 knockouts going against a 14-1 Lima with 10 knockouts. So this, and like I said, this is Matchroom. They're not going to give Boots an incredibly difficult fight before the Ortiz matchup, but we are looking at the Ortiz matchup. Like we know Boots Ennis, what he did at the welters, him moving up here will be interesting and a good way to do it, which is a great way to kind of segue into our next article from Boxing News 24. Canelo's legacy would be massively tarnished by a Crawford loss, says Chris Algieri. Now listen, this makes a lot of sense and then some, because it would be tarnished. Now we know Canelo it's a Hall of Fame. He's going to go down into the Boxing Hall of Fame. He's one of the top boxers in the game, if not the top boxer in the game. One of the top guys in the game is Canelo Alvarez. He's been that way for a while. And despite, people talking about his cherry picking and all this kind of stuff, but a lot of those fighters do that, But outside of that, what would it mean for Canelo to have a Crawford who goes up several steps, several classes to get to him and beat him? It is incredibly difficult. And that's why I kind of use the Boots Ennis article as a segue for this, because I think that's how you do it if you're Boots Ennis or any fighter, rather. Instead of just jumping right into the shitter and say, I'm the badass, I would rather kind of take a fight and climb up the ranks, because the thing with Terence Crawford, even though Terence is a hell of a fighter and one of my all-time favorite fighters currently, that's still doing it, it's very difficult to leap, not one, but two, but several steps up to fight the top fighter at that class is really something to do. And to be honest with you, that's the only reason why I picked Canelo Alvarez to beat him, because the jump that you have to make, and it would have been beneficial for Bud to just take on another fighter at that class and then go after Canelo. But it does have the feeling Bud wants the payday, just like you've seen what happened with the Charlo brother. You know, he got paid. The Canelo money hits differently. That's what they say. Jaime Mugia and all these guys, they got the bag going against Canelo. This is with Terence Crawford. A lot of people see Terence Crawford at 37 years old. This is a hasta la vista fight for Terence Bud Crawford. He didn't want the welter belts. He did that. He climbing up here to get the payday and then go off into retirement. We all know that's what Bud is doing. You know, now, of course, he's fighting Canelo for his legacy. That's a part of his character, too. But the money is also a major promotion. It's a major source of inspiration. But outside of that, that's why I said it is going to be incredibly difficult for Terence Crawford to beat Canelo at his class. So it's going, like I said, it's unheard of to see something like this happen. Not to go from the next class up, but to jump that far up and take the top guy on. I just see it as very difficult, man, for him to get a win there. I don't think he gets knocked out. I think it's a good fight, but ultimately I think it will end up being Canelo Alvarez. I think Bud will put on a display. You know, I've seen the footage of Bud bulking himself up, but what result? How would that impact his speed? Because a lot of what Bud is that he can do with Canelo Alvarez is his movement. Bud's always had power, but his movement. And can he take a shot? Because Canelo Alvarez drops bombs. He hits hard in both. He's a hard puncher. And people talk about how he fought up against the likes of this other running ass fighter, this fighter we seen last time around. That's not the point. That's a different climate and environment to what we're under now with Turkey Al-Sheikh talking about Tom and Jerry fighters. So we have to look at this and kind of say, you know, would this tarnish Canelo's legacy if he loses to Crawford? Absolutely. Absolutely it will. Absolutely it will. It'll elevate, but Bud's already a Hall of Fame fighter, in my opinion. He's already done enough to secure him as one of the best fighters of his generation. He's done enough of that. But this fight here is a legacy fight, and it's a money fight to send him into retirement. But it is also a very dangerous fight. So I salute Bud for even doing this. But at the end of the day, I still say I got to go with Canelo, because of the lengths that he would have to go to be in terms of beating a fighter at that class, and he's never fought there before besides doing what you see Boots do, which is take a fight to get used to the division and getting your body adjusted before you just jump full blown into the water. This kind of smells of desperation to a degree, right, of me for to do this. So in the end, that's my thoughts, man. What do you guys think about it? Put it in the comment section below. I know it's a tall order. We've seen Bud do some special things, but I don't know. Sometimes, you know, you overreach. This could be a situation. I think this is an overreach for Bud Crawford. But anyway, with that being said, that'll be the end of Ring Kings Boxing. Do me a service. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'm going to holler at y'all on the next one. Much love. Peace.
Subscribe now and make Ring Kings Boxing your source for all the latest fight news.